All right. So Eisenhower corner monument. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it out yet? Do we got parts yet? No, not yet. Not yet. We're working on it. So here's what we got so far. So I've already sent you guys the bar, and I sent you the letters, and I just sent what I'm calling them the mid boxes. So these are the 5-inch deep little pretty boxes that go onto the main body. So the main bodies are coming up. They're on step. I am working furiously on those. Those will be coming soon. But as you can see, you kind of have to work inside out to make sure, or outside in to make sure everything's going. So you got to make the big boxes and then make the little boxes here, the mid boxes, and then you make the letters and then they attach and then the bar. So that way I can translate how everything attaches on the way in. So let's go over the bar real quick because the face or the letters, you guys have that, no problem. So I already sent this. You got the bar, you got left, middle, and right. Because this thing's so big, I went ahead and broke it into 3 chunks. Hopefully there's not too much of a shadow where the seams go together. I did stagger the seams to where they match where the seams in the mid boxes are. So that way, hopefully, because this is going to be back a 1/2 inch right here. So hopefully that's not too big of a deal and it's kind of aesthetically pleasing. But I figure from the distance when you're driving by, you're not really going to see. You shouldn't notice that. And if you do notice that, you are a sign nerd and I apologize for you. I feel sorry for you. So that's something we would notice, not, but we are us. Is that some kind of space term? Anyway, so the whole idea is you're going to bend up the faces and the little teeth marks go to the outside of the jigs. You got the skinny jigs, both of them face up. You have your left, you have your M for middle, and you have your right, R for right. So go ahead and tack those up, and then don't forget your little end pieces. Go ahead and put those little bad boys on there. You got your left and your right. Go ahead and tack it all up, and then you're going to go ahead and lords the top and the bottom directly to that. So yes, that does put the seam to the face, but hopefully you can see there. So, but hopefully prep can make that disappear, make it look good. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, and this kind of happened on the main ones, the same bar on the main big monument there, is that the ends are going to float. They are not going to attach to the mid boxes like the 3 main polycarbonates do. So make sure when you put the LEDs on these, go ahead and give yourself a leash enough to where this can turn the corner and it doesn't bind or anything, but don't lose these. And go ahead and just get them attached to the main LED chain, and then they're just going to attach to the skin there and it's going to float. So it's just going to be attached to the bar itself. So, and that's the 2 end pieces. So look for these little guys and get these little customized guys here, little stubbies. So anyway, so that's the bars. You probably could figure all that out from the PDF, but not too much there. The letters though, like I said, you guys got that. No big deal. So let's move on to the mid boxes. So this is where it starts to get creative, let's say. But nothing too, there's not a lot of moving parts. I just want to point out because there's some weirdness because of this curve. So taking our normal monument building style and then putting it to a curve presents all the challenges because we got to, kerf everything like crazy. So anyway, so I want to point out some of the stuff we're doing, or you guys are doing anyway. So with that being said, let's get after it. So the actual lay of the land for this, it's broken up into a left box, and this is as you look at it. So the OG, this would be the left side, the middle, and the right as if you're just standing in front of it. So that's this guy's left with the logo, middle, and then right's over there. So just so you got that. So you have your left box, your middle box, and your right box. And then the middle box will have the spacers here. So keep an eye out for those weird guys. Here's all your bendy bits. Technically, the boxes are all the same, but I did except the middle box has those spacers. But otherwise, they're all the same other than the faces. The faces are what kind of change things. So you got kind of a set of 3 for the actual parts. Your jiggies are a little different because you have a left and a right. And then the skins, of course, that is what dictates, for sure, because they already have all the mounting holes for the bars and for all the letters. So keep those, don't get those mixed up. So going forward, back to the OG here. So this big boy, which is going to be in 3 pieces as well, and these guys, the winglet for the Palm Springs Airport, Air Museum, whatever, was sort of like a practice run scale model. So there's going to be a little bit of the same thing in this with just a little bit different stuff. So basically the verticals do all the work. And then you're going to put a top kerf. You're going to have a top one piece kerf that goes all the way along. Really, there's no front view to this because I can only build it from the top. There's really no point in making the top like the front view. So use your imagination, put your thinking cap on. But you're going to have kerf on the top of the top and bottom jiggies. So you have the top and bottom jiggies are the same. It's just make sure that they're both facing up. So like your bottom jiggy has the bottom up and then your top jiggy has the top up. So go ahead and make those. And then you're going to put these guys on the top of that, cleco it and tack it. And then that is going to go to the inside of the end pieces. And this might sound familiar to the winglet you just made. So you're going to kind of create an overall frame with these guys and these guys contiguous to this using your jiggies. So that's your top, bottom. That's like your outer peripheral. And it looks like this. You'll have your top lid, right, which goes on last. That's these guys. They're just decorative. They go on last. And then you have what you're making there. It's an 1.5 inch kerf, and it gives you a 2-inch face. And then that's going to go on top of the jiggy. So you're going to do that top and bottom. Now you're going to create the middle assembly, right, by taking the same thingamajigger here, except it's going to be broken up into chunks. So you're going to take the top and bottom rear, so the back side doesn't have anything on it, and the front side has F. So that's the face. So look for F for face. So do the front sides and the back sides. They're a little funky. You take the top one and it sits on top of the middle jiggy, right? Boom. And then you take the bottom one and it sits on the bottom, and the jiggy actually sits in the middle. So it's a sandwich. So this jiggy here is 063. Take the top part with the T, stick it on there, made it up with its bottom part there. And then that's going to give you this long, big 4-inch kind of flange. That's going to sit in the middle of these guys. So you can see where it goes up. So you have this little flange here. That flange is going to mate with this guy here and then this guy here. So number 1 fits in between, 1 and 2 here. And then 2 fits there, 3 fits there, 4 fits there. They run across. So that's sort of how it's going to look. So you'll have that, and then you'll just lords on your caps, like I said. So when it's all said and done, you'll have a 2-inch at the top. You're going to have a mid thing that's 4 inches, and then you're going to have a 2-inch flange that runs all the way along the top and the bottom. So that's that. And then the jiggies, though, are what's going to be different about, because there weren't any jiggies with the winglet. I gave you these kind of center things that sort of force the issue. But because we need the strength over here to mount these things, I went ahead and went with conventional jiggies. However, because this thing's on a curve, right, conventional jiggies aren't going to work because they're kind of curved. So what you're going to have to do is get the party started a little bit, and maybe on your table or something. You don't have to run these through the roller, but maybe just rub them over your leg or something. But get these kind of started with the bend a little bit. And so essentially the verticals are what's calling the shots, because on the verticals I could easily hit clecos. So all your verticals have your clecos, and that is what the jiggies attach to, verts only. To translate the cleco holes along the horizontal meant matching cleco holes in jiggies to all of these lines nonsense here. So yes, I could have translated this down, translated this down, and then gave you cleco holes on the horizontals to match your jiggies, but I just didn't have time for that. So you're going to take these long boys. So the backside has all these weird long boys. I'll show you what's up. Front side is pretty much universal. So you're just going to make sure that these kind of turn a little bit. Again, it's pretty gentle, but you're just going to make sure that it kind of has a little bit of curve, get it started, and make sure it curves the right way, obviously. And then you're going to go ahead and just put them in here. You can see I have it cleared there. And you're going to put this together like a conventional sort of, because I got the slots and everything. So it'll look conventional, except there's no clecos along this dimension, and these are going to have to bend a little bit. Now, the reason why the back ones are so long is in order for these boxes with everything, so that's like the bar and the box and everything, you see where I have these orangies, these are going to translate to bars that are on the big boys. So where the big boys are, where the big boys live, I'm going to have translation guys coming out here that, let's see, I think I have that somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so you can see where on this right here, where I have this orange sticking out, right? Not him. Yeah, there you go. So where this orange is sticking out, I'm going to have a piece of 1/4 inch off of the big boy sticking out. And it's going to support these mid boxes. So you're going to have a piece of 1/4 inch right here, right? And then you're going to have a piece of 1/4 inch sticking out. And then that's going to support right along the bottom of this middle section. So that's where so imagine this is going to be the 1/4 inch, and it's going to bonk. And so the whole weight of this whole thing, and I'll make that orange, there you go. So I know this isn't to scale, but so the whole box is going to sit on that guy here, this piece of 063 on the back side. So I went ahead and made these. You can see how fat the bottom one is. That will be even with the bottom of that flange, right? So come on, catch up. So you have that bottom of that flange. Well, that jiggy will be right along the bottom there. So these bars right here at the orange spots will actually sit on jiggies. So like that bar will be right about there, and that other bar is going to sit right about there on the left box. The mid box, that bar sits there, and that bar sits there. So you can see where the stress will be translated through the jiggy and the flange to the top jiggy, and then that whole thing will transfer to a vert. So that way the weight of this box will sit on those orange bars, but that whole thing will be supported nice. So do what you can, kind of funky. These have to curve a little bit, so make it work, but all of this works, like normal. And then it's all 5/16. So on the backside of all of these guys, you see the 5/16, you know how we do. That's going to translate to big boxes, and then big boxes will attach, all of that. So when you do the middle one, like I said, you got this guy, you're just going to rivet this directly to the side of the middle box. And then that gives us our 1/2 inch little space to make it sexy when it comes together. That's what these guys are. They're not in there, but they're about a 1/2 inch back, and it'll fill up that space right there and right there. So those will be permanently attached to the middle box. So when you get the box, so that's it. When you get the boxes all done, you got your jiggies in there, it should all work out. Hopefully everything's good and sexy for you. At that point, it's time for faces. So on the faces, you can see where technically the boxes are the same, because you'll have this vertical. So those are the only clecos you have really to line things up. Everything else will be just, face or bar mounting. And the whole idea is that, talking to Adrian, I gave you 2 inches extra here and 2 inches extra there. So run them through the rollers. They are face down. And I went ahead, because these things were 50 inches, I broke them into 2 so you can run them through. And then this seam will sit. That's why I gave you such a big flange here. So you have a big 4-inch kind of thing, 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on this side, to really stabilize that seam nice and sexy. So it'll be nice and good there. But because I didn't take the time to translate all holes to the horizontal, you can see where some of the letter holes will conflict with those horizontals. So you're basically going to have to drill all these by hand like animals, but you can obviously use the face. Also, I went ahead and made circles on the backside for stuff that counts. So really it's only the verticals that don't count. That helps you align. Now, when you go to do these, you're going to go ahead and make sure that the center ones align with the center ones first, because you can see where my center clecos are true. These are 165. So that'll get you dead center down the middle. And then I went ahead and rolled. You can work your way out, and I gave you guys room, a little bit of play to go out. So again, I severely, strongly, acutely, all these other words, Test fit these, get them rolled, test fit, make sure everything works really well, and then go ahead and get your lords on and get your mind right. So, and then of course, make sure you got right, middle, and left, because you can technically put these, they will fit on any of the boxes. So make sure you've got middle top, middle bottom, and they're facing the right way. And again, you guys are gonna have to drill through. If you need, let me know. I'm not going to make a paper pattern if we don't need to. But when it comes time for assembly, if you guys get the backer started on some of these holes, you should be able to just hand drill with like a long drill, you know. But if not, if you think you need a paper pattern, hit me up and I'll try to get you a pattern that, you know, you can transfer holes and stuff. But I'm not sure if these are text coat. The big boy, I believe the big boxes are text coat, but I can't remember if these are text coat. So, but this does match the big box, the big one, the main monument. So I don't know what we did on that. I can't remember. So, but anyway, but keep that in mind, that you're gonna have to do all the holes yourself, kind of when it comes time to assemble. Also on that note, talk to install whether they want these fully assembled, whether they want the bar on there, because all this is 063, so it's not going to be that heavy. So maybe they do want all the letters. Keep in mind that what you want to do, if they do want the letters, is go ahead and create leashes for, you know, like this guy here, the EINS and the logo. Go ahead and connect them, leash them up. Go ahead and connect these, leash them up, and then connect these and, you know, make one big leash ready to go. Make it nice and easy. And then somewhere on the backside here, I will have our power supplies. That's all coming on the big boxes. So, like I said, I'm working on those. But for right now, that's it. So mid boxes, I think you got it. Jiggies, how these guys go together, put those on there. I think you have that. Faces, like I said, you'll have to drill. I did notice, I tried to deconflict, like the W was actually right on the seam. I caught that in time, but one snuck through. So the E, of course it was, the one mounting hole for the screw on the smaller E here, did go right on the middle of that sandwich. It's going to be right on the jiggy. So just be ready to kind of drill that over when you guys go to assemble these. And on assembly, this is 1.5 inches. So it was all called out. So this is spec'd at 1.5 inches, and the letters are 1.5 inches. So go ahead. I didn't order any standoffs, but everything's for number 10 screws. So make sure, let's go ahead and get some sheet metal screws in, you know, 2-inch or whatever. And then make sure you bring in plenty of the number 10 by whatever 1.5 inch little standoffs we're getting from McMaster. Let's bring in several hundred, because all of these are going to be 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch. So get ready for that. So, but anyway, so I think you guys got it figured out. Hopefully all these jiggy things work for you, if it all makes sense. And hopefully it all works out. So, but you know where I'm at. If you have any questions, hit me up.